we are live in the fairest realm. I actually just went live and finished a pair of overalls. So I just finished that live, and now I'm gonna work on a little personal project, but I thought I'd take you along with me. So this set of overalls is part of a collection that I'm working on right now, a denim collection. And it'll be dropping very soon. I'm just finishing a few more pieces, which I will be doing with you together in these lives. But also, while I'm working on all these blue pieces and on these beautiful denim pieces, I still have my own side projects. For instance, I recently thrifted this really cool set. It feels like 90s rayon or maybe like early 2000s Y2K, and it's a matching set. So it's a top and some pants, and it's already super cute, but I have some ideas for how to make it more me so that I can get even more use out of it. So this is the top. It's like a cute little boxy blouse, and then these are the pants. They have an elastic waist and a drawstring. So here's the thing about this set. Well, first of all, let's talk about the print. I mean, what? These like yellow golden roses on the black. Oh my gosh. I love the color. I love this print like on me. I feel like it brings out my hair. I love it so much. And I want to really, really, really wear it. Like I want to rock this often, especially this fall, because I feel like these colors are so perfect for autumn. It just makes me feel like autumn. But the styling of this set is more of a summer set because it's like this little, oh, and by the way, there's butterflies in the print. Look at that. Oh my gosh. Yes. I feel like that is such a fairy print. Golden yellow roses with butterflies. Okay, so this top it's just a button-down top, right? It has a short sleeve. Well, here, let me try it on for you. There's nothing wrong with it. And I've been wearing it several times already as is, So I thrifted this. I think I paid, I don't know, probably not more than $20 for the set. And I thought that was a really, really good deal, for like vintage rayon with a matching set with such a good print. I thought that was a score. Hi everyone, welcome in. I'm upcycling this set. This is like 90s, early 2000s rayon set. This is the top, and then it comes with matching pants. And it's so cute, right? But the styling is very summer, right? With a short sleeve. And to be honest, I want to really wear this in the fall. So here's what I think I will be doing. Adding a sleeve, right? So taking it from a little summer short sleeve to a full-on fairy sleeve. I'll do like a bell sleeve. And yeah, because the other thing about this fit right now is like the sleeve is neither here nor there. Like if I was going to keep this as a short sleeve, I would probably shorten the sleeve because like I feel like a shorter sleeve is better on me. That's just what I prefer. That's all that matters. Everybody's different. Me, my proportions, I think a sleeve that's like almost hitting my elbow is just kind of weird. So I would either shorten it and make it summer, or add a long sleeve and make this more fall, and I think that's the path I'm gonna go. Yes, so I'm going to be adding a bell sleeve, and then now let's talk about the length. The length is also one of these things that's like neither here nor there. It's not cropped, but it's not a tunic top, and it just like hits me in a weird place. You know, on someone taller or someone in different size, it would be different, right? Every body is different, and that's the beautiful thing about sewing and upcycling is you can really fit your clothes to you and celebrate the uniqueness of your body and lean into what you like and what feels good for you. So for me, I think it's kind of boring and boxy. So I think what I'll do is I'll cut off some of the length and then add a ruffle, like a contrast ruffle, I think. Yes. And then for the pants, so here's what I love about the pants. We'll start with that. I love that they have the elastic waist and the drawstring. I want to keep that. That's super comfy. I love it. It's adjustable. Yes. Okay. Everything else I'm going to change. Okay. The pocket right now is a side / pocket, right? And so there's all this bulk on the inside of the pants, right on your hip. And that doesn't feel good to me. That never feels good to me. So any pants that I wear or make, I'm always cutting out the this hip pocket, and then I'm usually adding a patch pocket, something more flat. You said, are you a fashion designer? I actually did go to college for fashion design. Excuse me. But ironically, I don't think I call myself a fashion designer anymore. I do call myself a stitch witch and a fairy, and I make clothes, but I don't know, it's not really design because I'm not making it from scratch. I'm upcycling and reclaiming pieces that are already made. And it's not really fashion because to me, fashion is a scam, you know? Fashion is like what the big companies try to sell you so that they can make money, and they'll convince you that you have to have this like latest thing because it's the trend, and then they switch it up, and then what you just bought is passé and you have to buy something new. You know, that's fashion. And the thing is, I worked in that industry for many years. Yes, I did. And it left a bad taste in my mouth. So I left, and I never thought I would be back at all. But here I am in an upcycling capacity, which is a little different, or a lot different than what I used to do. And I'm loving it. So I'm glad to share, and I'm happy to see you here, and thank you for the questions. I'm seeing a whole lot of emojis here, and I don't know what that means. Okay, so for the pants, as we chatted about, I'm gonna close up the side pocket to remove that bulk and add a patch pocket. Then the other thing about these pants is they're just kind of long and straight, and once again, neither here nor there. They're not a wide leg, they're not high, they're not low, they're just kind of, they don't know what they want to be. So I'm going to push it in one direction or the other. And what I think I'm going to do is open up the side and add a panel of fabric to get a little bit more of like a wide leg or even a bell bottom, some more volume and movement in the leg. And I think I'm gonna turn these into bloomers. Yes, right? I could see it. So essentially I'm gonna cut off the bottom of the leg and add back in a ruffled panel, so to have like a bloomer effect, which I think would be super cute. And then that will give me some extra fabric, because if I'm cutting off the bottom of the leg, then I'm gonna have some extra of this precious patterned rayon. So I'm gonna use that for the sleeve. Look how good this will look with a long sleeve. Oh yes, this top as a long sleeve. Much better. And then, oh my gosh, what else are we thinking here? You know what I might do as well with this top? I like to open up the side seam and add a panel. It just, first of all, it looks cool. I love that, because then you can have two lines of like fraying, because I leave the seams exposed. And that adds some visual interest, as well as having like a contrast, right? Breaking up the print, which I think looks really cool. And also it makes it a bigger size. So instead of having the armhole ever kind of constricting you, then it just feels much freer when I add in the panel. So yeah, I love everything to be like free and loose. So I'll do that. I'll add the side panel in. I'm going to seam rip this hem and open the hem, and that will give me a little bit more fabric, right? A little more length of the sleeve. And then that's the point right above the elbow where I usually add the fairy sleeve anyway. So that will be the perfect point to then add some fabric for the sleeve. I'm so excited about this. I think this is going to be really cool. So let's see, the first thing I'm going to do, I'm gonna figure out how much I would want to cut off the bottom of the pants. And then I'm gonna see how much I need for the sleeve. And hopefully that is the same amount, you know what I mean? Ideally. If not, if what comes off the pants is only gonna get me like here, and I want like here, I want a long sleeve, then I could always do a panel, right? A ruffled panel at the edge of the sleeve to give it more length. And that would look cool anyway. So I think that's probably what I'll do. Okay, gotta put the wings on. So we get started here. Okay. So to check the bloomers, I'm just gonna hold them against myself. Okay. I like to reach down and feel right below my knee. I feel like that's a good point for bloomers. And everybody's knee is gonna be different, right? So you just have to put them on and see. I will measure this and just tell you what it came out to be for me. So that gives me an inseam of about 12 to 13 inches right in there. So yeah, I don't know if that's a standard bloomer inseam, but that's what I measured on my body. And now, the moment of truth, I am, hold on, let me take you over here. Okay, so I put a pin at that point that was just under my knee, right, on the length of the pants. And now I'm measuring. Okay, that's 15 inches. That's what I'm gonna have when I cut the bottom of the pants off right here. So let's see, 15 inches on my sleeve. It's going to be, oh yeah, I think it's gonna be the perfect amount. Yep, that's 15 inches. And that feels really good. Okay, perfect. Good news there. So now this bottom of the pant will become the fairy sleeve. we're just like mixing and matching, right? We're like moving things around. Okay, here we go with the cut, the first cut. And then I take the one I just cut and just line it up on the other leg. I know that you probably can't see that because it just gets lost in the pattern, but I have this one that I just cut on top of the pants for a little guide, and just follow that line. Perfect. And now I have the two. This is the bottom of the leg cut off here. And now I have all this fabric to add to the sleeve. Just taking a minute to say hello, welcome everyone. Thank you for being here on this live with me in the fairest realm. My name is Faith. I'm a fairy and an upcycler. I'm working on a 90s set today. This is a thrifted rayon set that I found, and I love the print and the pattern with these gold roses, but the fit was just a little bit lackluster. So we are adding some flair. So I just cut the pants, and now they kind of look like long shorts, but these are going to be bloomers. And I think that's super cute for fall. And I want to do like a nice high, deep ruffle, like a nice panel. Okay. And then these were the bottom of the pants, and now they're going to be the fairy sleeve, which we can just get a quick idea of. Put this on. So this is currently just like really boxy, and I don't love it as a short sleeve. So I'm now gonna take this fabric and add it, right? Like this is so much better in my humble opinion than this, right? Before and after. Yes. Okay. Now let's talk about the contrast fabrics. I have some really fun options. I told you in one of the last videos that I did that I found a whole bolt of silk at this amazing place called the Creative Reuse Center. It's like a thrift store for art supplies and materials. I found this whole roll of silk for $6, and it's a lot of silk, and it is such a beautiful color. Look at her. Oh, gorgeous, right? So what do you think? This. It's a match made in heaven. Yes, girl. So imagine that will be part of the fairy sleeve, and that will be the bell bottom ruffle, right, at the bloomers. But this is a solid color, right? It's a beautiful color and I love it. But I like to mix and match patterns. So I want at least one more fabric that has contrast to it, a pattern, a print. So let me just take a quick look at what I have, and we shall see what jumps out at me. I'm thinking this, I've actually been using this a lot lately. I don't know why, just a check or a gingham looks good with everything. It mixes really well with florals, and it provides like I don't know, like this visual anchoring because of the grid. It just feels really good to me. I mean, like, look at this together. That is just so, like, it just feels good. And then you add the silk, right? Like, are you kidding me? Look at that. It's gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. Okay, so let's get to it. I pulled this as an option, but I think that's just, no, it gets lost. It's too similar. Okay. I like a lot of contrast, as you can see with these garments. Yeah. Okay, so I think this will be the side panel. Yes, and maybe part of the bloomers, because I can use multiple fabrics for the ruffle on the bottom, kind of do like a patchwork ruffle. So I'll probably integrate this around. And this could be a really good candidate for patch pockets on the front of the pants. Oh my god, how cute would that be? Because then it would be down the side of the top, and then it would be like here in the front, and a little bit on the ruffle. Yes, we are cooking with fire over here. Okay, so the next thing I'm gonna do is open up the side of the shirt. So I'm not even gonna seam rip it. I'm just gonna cut right down, right next to the seam. Because, you know, we're gonna have raw edges anyway. And also a lot of these, you know, pieces that you find that have been like mass produced, they have the seams are all finished with the serger, or the marrow machine it's called, like this little edge there. And that can be tricky to seam rip. Like, you know, it's a lot of thread there. So I just like to cut. You know, that gives me the raw edge that I actually want anyway. And that saves me a lot of time seam ripping, girl. Yeah. Why seam rip when you can just cut, you know? Yeah. So I just cut that open, and now I will seam rip the pocket, because I want to get this extra length from the hem for the sleeve. Okay. You have a calming voice. Thank you. I'm at a calm place in my life, which feels really good. So I'm happy to share that, because it wasn't always that way. But now that it is, I have a lot of gratitude for this much peace in my life. So that's why I'm here sharing it. My intention is that, you know, as you find this channel or these lives, that you can just drop in, come hang out. You know, we can chat. You can always leave a question, and I check periodically. And we can just, you know, have a conversation. And my intention is that you'll feel seen, and that you feel you have a place to come and just be yourself, and be a fly on the wall in a creative studio, and hopefully just bask in, you know, the creative juices, right? Because this room has seen a lot of magic and creation. I'm always making something in here. And actually, before I started deep diving into upcycling recently, which was a full circle return to my roots. I had a season of making aura sprays, and I will definitely pick it back up someday. I'm just giving all my attention to the clothing right now. But yes, I'm excited to return to making the sprays someday soon, or I might need like a little team of fairies helping me make all these things that I want to be making. But yes, even when I wasn't making clothes, I was making the sprays in this room, and that was a very beautiful multi-sensory process because I was making my own hydrosols with plants and flowers, so it always smelled yummy in here. And then I was adding shimmer to the spray, like a natural micas with like iridescence and shimmer. So I would be like literally mixing and swirling these magical, mystical, shimmering potions in this room, you know, and it smelled so good. And then I would add crystal chips to each bottle, so it made this beautiful tinkling sound. So yeah, that was truly a transcendent time of my life making those sprays, because it was just such a pleasurable process to make something that smelled that good and looked that delightful and, you know, even sounded beautiful. So yeah, and I was doing markets for a while, like vendor markets, and selling these sprays, and that was a lot of fun, and I really learned a lot actually in that process that I'm very grateful for. And I imagine that I may return to doing markets now with the clothes, which is going to be a different style of market than I've done before. But yeah, I'm curious if anyone watching this is also a vendor and doing the markets, because it's definitely a whole subculture when you start vending at markets. You know, and it's a lot of work, man. It is a labor of love. You have to get up early and, you know, pack the car and then get there and set up and, you know, and then be there all day and meet people and talk and share your offerings. And then you gotta break it all down and pack it up, and, you know, it is very inspiring to see so many people out there making things, you know, handcrafts, and having the dedication and the devotion to share it with the world, because doing markets is not easy. So if you do markets, shout out to you. You should feel so proud of yourself. And I'm proud of you because I know how challenging it can be, because I've been there, and I have a whole new appreciation now for all the artists that, you know, are getting their work out in that way. But the cool thing about the markets for me was like all the connections and the people that you meet. And, you know, I don't think I had one single market where there wasn't at least one story of a really cool connection or meeting a new friend. So I'm very glad I did that. And yeah, but just going back to this room is really, you know, it's a vortex, it's a time machine, it is, it's a happy place for me. I'm very grateful to have this room. It sort of used to be our dining room in a way, like where we would host dinners or parties, because I have a nice long table in here. But I have since totally taken over this room, and I'm always working on this table, so we have had to have makeshift dinner parties in many different places. We have a barn here, so sometimes we will make a fire in the wood stove in the barn and just have dinner out there if we're gonna have people over, because we have more space out there. Or if it's nice in the summer, if the weather's nice, we'll sit outside for dinner if people are coming over. But technically inside our actual house, I have completely taken over the only room with a big table. So the dinner party era has shifted. It's not in this room, that's for sure. Oh my gosh. I'm sure if you have a creative room of your own too, you know how difficult it can be to keep it neat and organized. Yeah, it gets a bit chaotic in here. So I will have like periodic sessions where I do a deep clean and really organize everything. And when I do that, I always find all kinds of things that I had forgotten about, or, you know, yeah. So cleaning is good for finding things. Unearthing some materials that had been, you know, had gotten lost in the piles. For me, the fabric organization is what I'm trying to really figure out, because, you know, I kind of need to see what I have at a glance. As I'm upcycling a piece, I want to be able to just like access my, you know, my library or my archive of materials. Like I need to see what I have without like going through bins or opening boxes and digging through things. So yes, someday I can imagine I'll have a beautiful shelving unit full of all the fabric. And it seems like rolling fabrics works really well, right? More than folding it, so you can like see what you have. Okay, so I've opened up this top. And I seam ripped the sleeve open. So I have an extra inch of fabric now for the little sleeve. And I'm gonna press this out. So let me just plug in the iron. Okay, and then while the iron is heating up, I will see how much I need for the side panel. Oh, wait, okay. Yeah, so I want to cut off some of the top, the length, because I want to add a ruffle in the gold fabric. So let's see how much I want to take off. I think I know, but let's just see here. Yeah, I think it's about right here. That's quite a bit of a length, actually. I'm just gonna mark this with a pin. Yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna cut that much off, and then I'm gonna add a little less than that back on, but in a contrast color. So right now I have this much that I'm taking off, and the ruffle that I add is probably going to be only like that deep, because I didn't love this final length where it was hitting me. I kind of wanted a little shorter, a little more cropped overall. So, okay, I'm also now going to cut off. Ooh, and I think in the back, I'll leave the top a little longer. So whatever measurement I just did in the front, I'm not going to cut it that short in the back, is what I'm thinking. But I'm just going to use the pin as my guide. this is my pin here. Okay, this is the other front. So I'm just gonna put the piece we just cut on top. And that will be my guide to cut. Okay, so now I have even more fabric that I can use. And then for the back, I'm gonna leave the back a little longer. So if this is how much I took off on the front, I'm gonna do less than that. Okay. You may notice that I'm kind of cutting here free form without a guide. And yes, I am, because I'm kind of just eyeballing it because I trust myself. But something else that I like to do as I'm cutting is fold the piece back on itself and then use that as a guide as I go, right? Because that's going to keep it the same. So whatever piece you're cutting off, just keep folding that over and following that. Perfect. Okay, so now this is the side panel area. So I'm just looking at how much I'll need. And it's not very much. So yeah, I'm just gonna cut the side panel. Ooh, look at that. This width is perfect already. So now I'm just deciding how deep, how wide do I want the side panel. Okay, hi friends. If you're just joining, my name is Faith and my hair is crazy because we were just trying on some pieces as we're upcycling here. So this is a 90s, early 2000 rayon set that I am personalizing to make it a little bit more me. So I've cropped the top and we're gonna add a side panel and we're gonna add a fairy sleeve. And we've got some really cute drawstring elastic waist pants that I've cut the bottoms off of, and now they're going to be bloomers. So I just cut the side panels for the shirt. So that's ready to sew, and then I could go ahead and prepare the silk pieces for the bloomers and also think through the fairy sleeve. And I'll show you my process on that. But first, let me press things a little bit because this set got very wrinkled. Rayon does tend to wrinkle. I don't really mind wrinkles, but when you're sewing, it's probably better to have a flat surface just so you can see what's what, you know, and then after you can get it all wrinkled. Okay, so I'm just gonna press open where I seam ripped the sleeve, right, for the extra length. so satisfying to iron rayon, I think. It's like instant gratification. I love the texture of rayon. Even when you iron it, it still retains this, well, I guess this is like a crepe rayon. So it has like kind of a pebbled texture to it, which I love. It reminds me of like a texture in nature, you know. Another thing that drives me crazy about some shirts is, you know, when there's this little facing piece in the back, it gets all wrinkled. So what I usually like to do is actually stitch it down, and then it provides like a little, you know, like you could do a zigzag stitch and it will make a nice little detail. And also it's just super functional because it will keep the facing, the backing, you know, flatter, which feels better, because when it wrinkles up, it just kind of gets bulky. And you know, we're not going to be probably ironing this piece all the time just to wear it. I'm ironing it now as part of the creation process, but in my mind, you know, you don't have to be ironing your clothes just to wear them. That's probably a little too fussy for me. Okay, so I just tried to flatten that out a little bit. Okay. Okay, so side panels are ready to be sewn on. Oh, and then, okay, let's have a look at the sleeve here and see how we want to do this. Okay, so this is our top, right? This is the sleeve. So this is the bottom edge, which will now be the elbow. So we'll attach the fairy sleeve here, and the fairy sleeve is coming from what was the bottom of the pant leg. So I'm gonna cut this open. Right, so this was the pant leg, and I'm just opening it up, cutting right down the seam. And then there's, because this was a kind of a pegged pant leg, the pant leg went smaller at the bottom. So now the shape is like this. It's a little wider here at the top, right? Because this was the hem on the bottom. But I'm gonna flip this around. So now it's smaller at the top. And I think I'm gonna seam rip, yeah. This was the hem of the pants, but now this is where it's gonna attach to the elbow. So yeah, the triangle is now going out because we want the flare of the sleeve. So I've just turned this upside down, and by seam ripping the pant leg open, then we're gonna get more length of the sleeve, and that's a good thing because I like a very long sleeve. It's the drama for me, you know. A long bell sleeve. It's very fairy, I think. And it's just so fun to wear. You feel like instantly more fabulous when you put on a top that has a bell sleeve. And like an extra long sleeve that kind of like covers your fingers, you know. It's like you can't help but have a magical day if you're wearing something like that. So I think this set will be for me, but most of what I make is to sell. But it's funny because even when I think I'm making something for myself, in the end, I'll probably decide to sell it anyway because, you know, I can't keep all the goodness to myself. And then my closet just keeps getting stuffed with things and, you know, gotta share the love, right? Can't hoard all the good stuff for myself. I already know this set is gonna be like bonkers, bananas, so crazy good. So yes, we'll see. We'll see if I can part with it. You know, I can always be convinced to part with something. All that I really care about actually is that the garments I make find the right person, you know. And yeah, I love all the garments I make, and some of them I feel like I am the right person to keep it. It's for me, but it's actually almost more satisfying or more interesting if I release the piece out into the world and it finds its match. And if I get to be part of that or witness that or hear the story of a really special piece finding the person that it was made for, that's like gold, you know, hearing that, because that's the entire reason I do this. Honestly, at the end of the day, I am, you know, I'm making something that I think is really cool, but while I'm making it, I know that it's for someone out there that I haven't met yet, and they're gonna think it's really cool, and they are gonna feel really seen when they find this piece. And when they wear this piece, they're gonna feel so good. You know, that's my goal and that's my intention always. Okay, so I just opened up that pant leg and seam ripped that. And now I'm gonna repeat that with the other pant leg. So I'm opening up the side seam. And then I'll seam rip the hem open so we get that extra fabric back. So yes, I'd love to hear if you guys upcycle or what projects you're working on. Oh, and I wanted to say about upcycling a piece like this, right? A set or something that you thrifted. When I found this, when I thrifted this set, I loved it so much instantly. And I wore it quite a few times, just as is. And I actually highly, highly recommend that before even starting to change something or get into like cutting it or sewing it. Like, wear it a few times. Because for me, at least, what it does is help show me how I want to change it. Because if I just thrifted this amazing piece and brought it home and had like an initial idea about what I wanted to do, I mean, I'm sure that would be fine and great. But what I noticed is, as I actually wore it a few times and lived into it, I could tell really specifically what I liked, what I didn't like, what I would change. And I just began to take notes, you know, and still enjoy it in the meantime, because like as it was a perfectly good set. And it wasn't really until I had a chance to fully wear it around quite a few times that then it all clicked, all the things that I wanted to do. So now I can just go into this project and I have a pretty good idea of where I'm going, still leaving lots of room for, you know, changing things or pivoting. But, you know, what I'm doing today may be a little different than what I would have done if I had thrifted this and taken it home and immediately started upcycling it. So I'm glad I waited a little while, and sometimes, you know, that's how it works out, especially if you have something that starts out pretty good. You can like really feel the foundation of what you love about it, what you want to keep, and start there, you know, and then just be very intentional about what you want to add or change. Okay, so I'm seam ripping here. I'm seam ripping. I'm getting distracted by our chat, but I am seam ripping. Sometimes I can't really multitask, but I know you get it. If you're here, if you're watching this, I know you're a kindred spirit who probably also struggles with this thing they call multitasking, which is really not all it's cracked up to be anyway, because if we're doing multiple things at once, like, we're probably not putting our attention, fully with anything. So, sometimes I gotta slow it down and do one thing at a time. Okay, so my battery is running low and we're coming up to about an hour. So what I may do is pause pretty soon and stop here for the day. I won't keep going without you, don't worry. But what I'll do is pick back up tomorrow and maybe even start a little earlier so we have some better lighting in here. The best light in this room is in the morning. That's my favorite time to be in here. So yeah, I've been experimenting with going live, and it's just ended up that the last few afternoons have been free for me, so I've been going live in the afternoon. But I'm thinking, if I can plan ahead a little bit to go live in the morning, because the light is just spectacular. Because the sun rises at this part of the house, and then by now it's on the other side of the house. So it's still plenty bright out, but you don't have that morning sun streaming in through the windows, which is so magical. But yes, I'll pick this up tomorrow, and it looks like today was a good day of preparation and planning, right? Like, we made a plan, we cut what we needed to cut and prepared the garment. And then tomorrow will be a lot of sewing the panels and the pieces together, making some pockets, doing the ruffle of the bloomers. But I actually think it's going to come together really quickly because it's easy. It's just straight stitches. We're leaving everything raw edge. And then I'll put it in the washer and dryer. It will get the cool fraying effect that I love. I'll give it a haircut. You know the process by now. You know the deal. Yes. Okay, friends. So we'll wrap it up here. And just to summarize, we have the little short sleeve top that we're turning into a long sleeve top with a ruffle at the bottom. And we have the pair of pants, which we're turning into bloomers. We're adding a ruffle to the bottom. And we have our work cut out for ourselves in the best way, right? It's nice to end a day in the workshop knowing what I'm going to be returning to in the morning with a fresh new day ahead of us. So it's been a pleasure hanging out with you all. Thank you for being here with me. It means a lot. I'm so glad we're connecting. And someone says, have I ever been told how cute my nostrils are? Well, I do know that I have very open and flared nostrils. And I personally believe that means that I take in a lot of data through my nose, because you know what they say, the nose knows, right? This is the seat of our intuition. It's like we can smell the truth, as it were. And actually it's true, because it's been proven that the nose takes in information all day. We also call this information pheromones. And a lot of pheromones are not detectable to the brain, meaning as a scent, right? So sometimes we might smell bacon, right? And we're like, oh, the brain is telling us that's bacon. It's registering. But all day long, we're picking up pheromones that our brain doesn't even have a category for, or there's not a noticeable scent, as it were, but it's still information, and it's still entering the nose, and everything that enters the nose goes right into our brain directly without processing through the different translation centers that like our eyes and ears do, or our taste buds. The nose is a very direct sensory experience. And, you know, it's often like our first line of defense with our intuition. Like our nose can be the first sense to pick up on if something's not right here, you know, and maybe we don't even know why. Like it's not like we smelled danger, but something in our nose did smell danger and then gave us that gut feeling of like, oh, don't go there, or, you know, maybe take this turn instead. Those little things that happen throughout our day that keep us on track, you know, they keep us safe. I think the nose has a lot to do with that. So yes, I'm very grateful for my nose and all the information that it brings me in life, because I think my intuition has a lot to do with the nose. So yes, thank you for that. Well, have a wonderful day, and I'll be back tomorrow. I hope you'll join me to finish off this beautiful rayon golden rose set that we are lovingly upcycling. So until next time, friends.